Hi, this is Jillian from Get Living Foods and Wellness Coaching. Today I'm having this amazing interview with a good friend of my son's actually, and someone that we've got to know. His name is Chris Xuereb.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it right. But I just want to just go through a little bio about Chris. So through competing at national level in kickboxing in 2001, Chris had actually injured his shoulder. As a result of the excellent rehab Chris had in his injuries, he joined a well-renowned rehab clinic. He was and remains passionate about treatments and helping others based on his personal experience. He has been responsible for getting athletes back up to top form and achieving gold and silver medals at Olympic Games and World Championships. Currently, Chris travels around the world working together with amateur athletes, Olympic athletes, and professional executives, bringing 15 plus years of experience in sports medicine. And he has a whole list like sports rehab, soft tissue specialist, kickboxing, martial arts, rehabilitation, strength and conditioning, active release therapy, track speed coach, sports specific, deep tissue massage, and injury prevention. And he has a lot of certificates, frequency specific micro current, I'll have to find out what that is, active release, ART, active release therapy, electromyography,
Yeah.
anyway, soft tissue therapist, you'll have to explain those, hyperbaric technician, strength and speed coach, pretty cool. And just his achievements alone, he has a black belt in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, 3 times Canadian kickboxer, responsible for directing kickboxing classes, and responsible for instructing self-defense courses. So he definitely comes to us with a lot of amazing credentials. So Chris, welcome today. It's nice to have you on here. You can tell me what this electromyography is?
Yeah, so it's I guess EMG we call it. So it's a biofeedback machine. You basically hook up electrodes to different muscles, and it'll give you a feedback as to how different muscles work in the body with different movements.
Oh, pretty cool. Okay, very good. And I know that there's some other therapies here that what's Cybex certification?
So it's hyperbaric medicine. Basically, it was used or designed for people that used to scuba dive and get into different injuries when it comes to breathing. Basically, you're breathing in oxygen or nitrogen, whatever it is that you're breathing when you're scuba diving. So we use that more for wound healing and sport-specific injuries. So at the clinic that I was involved with and worked for a number of years, we had that just to, I guess, speed up recovery when it came to injuries in athletes. It's a pressure capsulized chamber, and you're breathing in 100% oxygen at a greater atmospheric pressure.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I've seen that I saw that at the sportsman at the cycle show. Actually, saw some doctor had this machine up, and I probably was very much like that. Sounds like very much the same.
Yeah.
So I have seen it. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, so knowledgeable on injuries. Maybe you could explain to us how we can actually overcome injuries, because I know a lot of us have, especially back injuries, or especially like ankle injuries, shoulder. I keep injuring my shoulder, so annoying. And a lot of us are struggling with injuries. I wonder, what you have to say about that for us.
Well, lots to talk about that. I guess to start off, mindset needs to be key, right? It's that whole analogy. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. And ultimately, I deal with it on a daily basis where, your average person or your athlete expects to come and see you, and for them to just, overcome that injury or whatever they're dealing with just by seeing you. And sometimes that's not the case. They need to do the work, and they need to mentally want to get better. And a lot of people just don't want to get better. And I hate using those words, they don't. I think they're just expecting, they're expecting just for you to come in, you're the therapist, you give them some exercises, or you do some soft tissue work or whatever, and, you snap your fingers and they're better. But most of the times it's a little bit deeper than that, and they need to do the homework. I deal with it a lot where, you know, a therapist will send a patient to come and see me, and, you know, I feel their tissue and it's so dehydrated, and they're expecting me to loosen up that tissue, not understanding that hydration plays such a key role in the body. A lot of people don't understand hydration. They really don't. A lot of therapists and doctors don't understand hydration. And, you know, I tell people all the time, I can't do my job if your tissue's not going to allow me to do my job. And that gets down to that cellular level where tissue's not hydrated, I can't do my job. Tissue doesn't have the minerals, the vitamins, whatnot. It's not going to allow me to do my job. So I always have that 3-strike rule where, you know, you come see me once, twice, 3 times, and every time you see me, you should be significantly better. If after the 3rd time you're not at least 90, 95% better, then there might be something else going on. Yeah. So, and, you know, that requires either maybe seeing a doctor, a lot of controversy about that.
Sure.
You know, you might have to get some type of imaging. You know, I was brought up in a sports rehab clinic that, you know, one of my greatest mentors, you know, my doctor took me under his wing and basically showed me the ropes. And that's how I really learned. You know, I never had credentials and never had schooling. I used to be a grease monkey, an automotive mechanic. And then I just got an opportunity and ran with it. And, you know, the biggest advice that I always say, or what I preach is, you know, I can't see what's going on in the body. So I can't be Superman. I can't see what's going on inside. So what do? I get some type of imaging done, right? And so that's what my doctor used to do, you know, order a bunch of tests. During that time, you get treatment, and hopefully the treatment clears it up. If not, the imaging comes back. And most of the times, about 85 to 90% of the time, the imaging is going to tell you something that the human body or the human person can't really see. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about hydration. I mean, I know in my coaching, when I start with a client, the first thing I'm attacking is hydration, as in drinking so much, because I know that we are, especially with our North American diet, we are so dehydrated.
Absolutely.
And you know, so, and a lot of health can be changed towards better health by just drinking more. So what do you recommend for hydration? And when you talk about hydration, what are you actually speaking about?
I recommend, I don't even want to work on somebody when it comes to massage or any type of tissue work, or even an athlete or whoever, unless they drink about anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 liters of water a day. And that's depending on body size, but even your most petite woman, let's just say, needs on average 2 to 3 liters of water a day. And some people can question that. Some people can say, well, you know, you can drown in a pool of water. Yeah, you can, meaning that you can flush away a lot of electrolytes, a lot of vitamins and minerals if you drink excessive amounts of water. Yes, but if you have an adequate amount of nutrients going into your body, I don't think you could ever drink too much water. I think the benefits behind somebody that over drinks water, if that makes sense, versus somebody that has little hydration or little amounts of water, I'd rather take, you know, the person that drinks more water. I think there's more health benefits behind that than there is behind somebody that drinks very little water. And you got to remember that the average person does not understand, you know, if you're having caffeine, you know, tea, coffee, or juice, you know, water is water. So when you're starting to have sugary drinks, or you're starting to have caffeine drinks, that depletes the amount of water inside your cellular level, or at the cellular level. I'm not talking about at even just tissue. We're talking deep down inside. And that is so important to, you know, allowing treatment to work properly and allowing your body to function properly. You know, you see a lot of people with kidney stones, for example, you know, I mean, and diabetes, like there's a list of stuff that goes on that I just think that if people, you know, understood what water and hydration is all about and understood what it does to the body, I think they'd be they'd be in a better situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I have seen changes, even in my own life. You know, I mean, I could not drink water now. After your body just gets used to it and just wants more and more,
Absolutely.
yeah, because yeah, I know. It's funny how I actually want to drink too. It's just sort of something that goes.
And actually, the crazy thing about water is you'll find that, because a lot of people say, well, it's just so hard to, drink the 2-3 liters of water a day, that, more and more health studies are coming out showing that, we need to drink that amount or more. But the funny thing about it is, once you go to drinking 2-3 liters of water a day, you'll never go back to drinking 1 or 2 liters of water. Like, I drink about probably 6-7 liters of water a day. And now I'm just like, if I don't have that much, I feel so thirsty.
It's simple. What I was just going to say, I have a jug that I keep filling up right next to my computer, and I just fill it up, and so it's always there. And I have a glass of water at my windowsill, and then I have my really big jug that goes out with me to the gym or wherever as well. So yeah, get yourself equipped. And what's just a quick thing, if you do have a struggle with water, even a squeeze of lemon, if that makes a difference.
Absolutely.
A squeeze of lemon, eventually you just start to crave water.
Yeah. The advice that I was always given is, and it's so true, we are a computer chip. We can reprogram our body. We just have to have that mindset that it takes, a couple weeks to reprogram ourselves. But during that 2 weeks, it's always difficult, but you got to make things easy. I always tell people, it's hard for me to, if my goal is to drink 3 liters of water a day, that's basically 6 of those little 500 milliliter water bottles. It's hard to keep track of 6 bottles, right? So I try to simplify things. What do? I just get one of my 1 liter water bottles, and I know that I need to fill that up 3 times. So 3 is just an easier number for me to remember versus 6, right? Yeah. And I try telling people, don't get one of those big 3 liter jugs, because when you look at that, you'll get so discouraged that it's too overwhelming.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's not, and I know, just like yourself, you don't even have to count anymore, because I just drink, and exactly. I know that when I need water,
Absolutely.
I just drink, and it's so good for your gut. I'm all about the gut. I used to have gut issues, and just getting things moving, getting that peristalsis movement happening, and we can go on, right? All the benefits.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I used to have bowel issues. For me, I'm an open book. I used to go to the bathroom, I remember years ago, maybe once a week, twice a week. And that was for years. I mean, my nutrition sucked. I was just eating like crap. I mean, I was still being active and whatnot. But the only thing that's made me go more frequently and more like a normal person is hydration. And I've tried everything. Mm-hmm. I've tried seeing specialists, doctors, everything. And I notice a world of a change when I go from me drinking a lot of water to very little water. That's the first thing that I notice is my bathroom isn't my best friend anymore.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know medically they say, you can go 1 or 2 weeks without a bowel movement, and I totally disagree with that. I have a bowel movement once or twice a day, talking about bowel movement, since the change, and it's certainly healed my gut, which I know you can attest to. So what do you find is the most the obvious injury that you keep having to the recurrent? I know you're dealing with different sports like jiu-jitsu and probably, I think, boxing and a lot of whole different types of sports. But for the average person, what is the most common injury that you tend to always face?
I think a lot of people, I think the most common injuries are lower back, and a lot of stress headaches. And it's one of those things where I hate saying that there's stress headaches. I mean, and it's stress, like stress is just such a broad word, is it stress from your work, your kids, your wife, husband? Is it from, just being too active? Is it from sitting? Is it stressing out the tissue versus, what most people consider stress to be? So stress is such a broad word in my eyes. But those are the 2 most common. And honestly, it's like anything, you you hear a lot of, I pick on physiotherapists a lot, and I'm going to get a lot of hate mail, but I'm very vocal. And I think, you know, with with that traditional chiropractor, massage therapist, and physio. So traditional chiros just believe in adjusting bones. Massage therapists just believe in massaging tissue. And then your physiotherapists were more for injuries, and they just basically gave you, you know, strengthening exercises. So that was traditionally what it was all about. Now it's a lot different, where you see a lot of therapists combining or learning how to do the various combinations of things. So you'll get chiros understanding how to release soft tissue, and you'll get massage therapists learning how to do joint manipulation to kind of get like an adjustment. And then physios have changed their mindset too, and understand that it's not just about strengthening, you know, an individual. There's a lot of loosening of tissue and understanding how things work a little bit more. I think that's a fair way to say it, or that's just my way of saying it anyways. But I think a lot of people just have to, you know, you got to get to the root cause. You got to understand why you're having headaches, why you're having back pain. Back pain is, to me, the most easiest solution. Like it's easy. And the reason why I say it, I'll tell you two reasons. Number one is in 2002, I severely injured my back, where it left me literally, I was urinating and having bowel movements out of control. So I was literally peeing myself and pooping myself for a good 6 months. And I basically, L4, L5, S1, I bilaterally fractured my transverse processes. So I had 6 broken bones. I had a grade 2, some label it as a grade 3 slippage. And I also had 2 moderate to severe herniations. So literally I woke up one morning and I was KO'd, got rushed to the hospital, couldn't move. I chose to listen to my mentors. 9 months of agony. I didn't understand, in order to get better, you're going to get worse. And when you say that to someone, they're just like, Chris, what are you, stupid? Why do you want to get worse? And I'm like, well, that's what they're telling me. So my faith and my trust is in my mentors. I believed in them. I trusted them. And I just said, screw it. I'm listening to them. I'm not listening to the specialist that wanted to, you know, cut me up. So I basically understood. So for 9 months, I did what they told me to do. Knock on wood, I didn't have any surgery. After that, strengthened my body, loosened up the tissues, understood what the game plan was. And the game plan was, I needed to understand that if I continue to use my back for movement, I'm going to continue to damage it. So what does that mean? That means that your spine is a foundation. You can't move your foundation. You can't move your support walls at your house, or else the house is just going to fall over. So a lot of people get their movement from their spine. So they continue to bend from their spine, which is the worst thing that you can do. Your spine is basically your foundation. You get your range of motion from your limbs. That's what your limbs were designed for. Your legs, your arms, they were designed to reach. You know, if something falls on the floor, you bend your knees and you bend from your hips, and you don't use your back and you use your arms to pick up whatever it is. But a lot of people use their back because we're lazy. We're humans. We learn how to do things. You know, it's almost like a mouse getting through a maze. You know, it learns after hitting a few walls how to get to the exit point. So we learn and we compromise and we learn how to get to our end goal, which is, if I need to pick something off the ground, I'll use my back, because it's just easier versus using proper mechanics. So I rehabbed, did all that, knock on wood, and never had spinal surgery, ever. Never had any back issues, ever. People always look at me like, wow, that's crazy, I can't believe it. Fast forward in 2014, unfortunately, I got diagnosed with having a spinal tumor. So it was an intracellular spinal tumor. It was off a few nerves, had a few nerves attached to it. So they had to drill through a couple of spinous processes to access my cord and whatnot, gut me up. I had no choice. It was a tumor. It was basically 1.5 inches big. Your cord's basically, 2.5 inches. It was taking up half of that. It eventually would have led to more issues. So I recovered, had spinal surgery, did what I needed to do. 8 weeks later, I was back to normal. 11 surgeries that day. I was the only one to have no issues. Everybody else had either infections, some type of bladder issue, and or some type of neurological issue. I never had any, knock on wood. And to this day, I don't have any back issues. Why? Because I believe in what I was taught to believe in, which is don't use your back for range of motion. Strengthen your core, get your soft tissue release, get those bones moving properly, and you'll never have an issue.
Wow, now that's an amazing testimony there that you have. When you in your therapy, do you give people specific core exercises to do? Okay, or is it okay just to do the core exercises? Your sit-ups and Pilates and those.
I think you can't give. Here's my argument to people that are post-surgery, right? You go in to see a surgeon, whether you're a girl, boy, woman, male, or man, whether you're 10 years old, 3 years old, whether you're 99 years old, in shape, out of shape, fat, skinny, doesn't matter. Good nutrition, bad nutrition, list goes on and on. Everybody gets the same program. Do you realize that? Everybody gets the same program. How is that physically possible? You're telling, and remember, mindset is #1 priority. So you're telling me a guy like me that's mentally driven, I will do whatever it takes. I'm a Taurus, so I'm stubborn. I'm a stubborn bull. If you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to find a way to do it. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just part of who I am. And that's part of my mentorship. My biggest mentor has always given me the biggest advice. That is that you have to find a solution. There's always a solution to somebody's issue or problem. You just got to figure it out. So I don't believe that somebody can't do something. I believe that people can do stuff. It's trying to figure out what you can do and what you can't do. And there is a solution. You just got to look for it. So for me, you can't tell somebody like me that is driven mentally, that is in shape, and that'll do anything that I want with my expertise and people that I have in my team, that it takes me 6 months to a year, 12 months, 15 months to recover from an ACL issue or, a spinal cord surgery. Like I've overcome those things. When I walked in for my after post-surgery in my spinal cord, I walked in to see my surgeon at 8 weeks because he wanted to see me. And I remember walking into that. And remember, my rules that I couldn't do were I couldn't lift my arms past my shoulders, couldn't lift or over 5 pounds, couldn't twist, couldn't bend forward, couldn't really exercise. There was just such a list of things that I couldn't do. In 8 weeks time, that they told you. Absolutely. So at 8 weeks time, I walked into my surgeon appointment and he said, "How do you feel?" And I said, "On the record or off the record?" And he said, "Let's talk about off the record." And I started doing push-ups, jumping jacks, and jumping. And he was just like,
"Wow.
Okay, I don't understand. What's going on here?" And I said, "Doc, you've never, ever," and remember, going into surgery, I had 3 interviews, and all interviews led to me having 75% chance I was going to end up I was going to end up in a wheelchair. So when people are taking stuff away from you, and I believe that my purpose in life has always been to help people. You're telling me that I can't do that anymore. I can't train people anymore. I can't massage them anymore. I can't do my soft tissue work. I can't do that stuff anymore. Are you crazy? There's no way possible you're going to tell me, a stubborn Taurus, that I can't do something anymore. So what do? I say, screw it. I'm not listening to anybody. I rehab myself, and literally rehab myself, and listen to myself, listen to my body. And I was as strong as can be going into surgery. And at that 8 week point, I was back to about 90%, 95%. So I was still I was back to squatting 450 pounds, doing power cleans for repetitions of 5x5 at 225 pounds. At the time, I was training a lot of athletes, local athletes, and we were just training. I used them to help me overcome my injury, but at the same time, I was helping them stay in shape. And point to the whole thing is, you gotta understand your body. You gotta put, you know, and you gotta want it. You gotta want to get better. You know, a lot of people, even what we're going through now with this whole COVID thing, not to get into so much controversy, people gotta want to get better. You gotta want to get better. You can't be that person that says, oh my God, you know, pandemic, we have a virus out there, it's killing everyone, and we're just gonna stay at home and hopefully hide from this ghost. You can't do that. There's things that you can do. You know, there's things that you can do to minimize, because the stats are out there, the science is out there showing that immune compromised people is truly what this affects. I'm not saying the most healthiest person can't get affected. I'm not saying that, you know, they can't die. Anything's possible. But while I'm here in this world, I'm going to look after myself, and I'm going to try to do whatever it is that I have to do to live a healthier life. I'm not saying that health, you know, living a healthy life is going to make you live longer. Absolutely not. I know so many people that had perfect health and they passed away. So you can get hit by a car, anything as stupid as that. All I'm saying though is, while you're here, try to live a healthier life, because you're going to be a lot happier. That's it.
Oh, absolutely. And as I tell people, I want to live until my last breath. I want to really appreciate and enjoy what has been given to me with the health. And that's personalized, right?
Absolutely.
So that's really wonderful, just to be able to hear, especially your story. And it says, I do know, I mean, I know hundreds of people with back injuries. Yeah, and so that would be you would definitely be a good resource for that.
Just to, not to cut you off, but just to kind of add on to the back issue, and it's just like with any injury, right? At the end of the day, you can strengthen your back. If you're having back issues, you can strengthen your back. You can get massage, chiropractic work, physiotherapy. If there's something going on inside, chances are what you're doing isn't really going to do too much other than patch the issue. But with that being said, just because you have, like I had, fractures, herniations, slippage, I still have those. I don't have any back pain. Right. So after 2002, I had a yearly, sometimes every 2 years, I'd go in for an MRI, because I wanted to make sure that things were healing and or the slippage wasn't getting worse. They're still there. I knock like over my mother's grave. I wake up every morning, knock on wood. I mean, because now I'm probably going to injure my back. But I don't have any back pain. Even after my spinal surgery, I do not have any back pain, not even 1%, not even 0.1%. My back is fine. And the reason why is because I understand the mechanics. I understand that even if I have all those things, chances are, I'm not saying you don't need surgery. I'm just saying that chances are you might not have to have surgery. If you understand that if I have a herniation and I continue to bend where it's herniated, I can strengthen my back all day long. I can get massage, chiro, physio, see a doctor, get shots, whatever. I'm always going to have back pain. Why? Because I keep aggravating that. So I keep poking at that hornet's nest. Do you think those hornets are not going to come out and sting me? Right? So you got to understand the mechanics. You got to understand, you know, if I sit a lot or if I stand a lot or whatever it is that I'm doing that causes that irritation, that needs to get settled. So you got to understand mechanics, bending from the knees, bending from the hips, understanding that the spine's not made to be bent. Mm-hmm. So I think people need to understand that. And I hate when surgeons, doctors, therapists, chiros, physios, massage, nobody, or even strength coaches, everybody just thinks because, you know, they're narrow-minded. They only understand, if you're a chiro, you tend to only understand adjusting bones. Physio, strength work, massage, loosen up muscles. Everybody kind of stays within their bubble. And unfortunately, what makes me a little bit more unique, or I call it luck, is I didn't go really to school to educate myself on one particular field. I was literally grabbed by my hand by who I consider is the best in the world, a sports medicine doctor. Why do I consider him the best in the world? Is because the best in the world, from athletes and executive people, politicians, flew in to see this doctor. So that makes him one of the best in the world. I was able to travel with him, fly around with him. Doctors, physios, chiros, massage, they took me under their wing. They showed me the hands-on approach. I educated myself through books, hanging out with people. Surgeons took me under their wing, and they liked me. They took a great liking to me because I was like a sponge. I never really asked questions. I just absorbed. And that's why ultimately I became probably one of the top therapists out there, because I was able to travel around the world to rehab some of the highest profiled athletes, because their therapists or doctors couldn't understand how to help them with their situation. And here comes this guy from Canada with no credentials and a couple of treatments, and they're cured. They're back to breaking world records, or they're back to winning gold, silver, bronze medals. So yeah, a lot of luck.
I think definitely somebody had their hand in that one in training. So that's actually, I really like what you said, is that you still have that injury, you still have the hernia, which, because I was just thinking, oh, you're cured, but but it's been able to work with what you have. I mean, tough, people have been in car accidents or injuries like that, or but you can overcome it, and you can, through therapy and help, and especially coming to see you too, would be a good thing, and be able to know that you're not destined to what the doctors have said, that you're not going to walk again, or that you're not, all those things that, as you said, mindset. And I'd like to talk about mindset maybe the next time around, because it looks like my internet is sort of having a little bit of an issue again. I don't want us to glitch, but maybe sometime we could come back about mindset and how to work on mindset. I'll actually put your link down below, so that'll be great if people, and you can certainly get in touch with me. And this has been wonderful, Chris. And I'd like to come back and talk about mindset, and talk about maybe another injury that is very common, and that, some maybe tips that you have. I know you have a kind of cool business name. What is that business name again?
It's called X Performance and Wellness. So yeah, I've never really been one of those social media people who kind of post things about me, and even, a website. And that's through even just my mentors. They never had it, so I just followed them. But I think, life's taken a turn, and a lot more things are going on social media, and it's just a great platform. And I just think that, I'm just tired. I'm tired of seeing people not getting fixed. And I use that word so broad, I fix people. I truly, truly believe in that. And if it's not directly, me being, the direct person, definitely my team of people will help. And I don't want to see people living their lives in pain. I think a greater majority of the people can live a happier life in less discomfort or no pain at all. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Wonderful. That is really a great answer for people that are out there and that are needing that very specific type of therapy, and the sports injuries, which I know are many. So definitely some great answers. And this is kind of a launching. My son has talked about Chris for a long time, and I know he's got a great reputation of. I know he's got a list of Olympic champions, and maybe we can get into that another time, of that he's worked with, gold medalists and silver, and so he's got a great reputation that's gone ahead of him. And I thought, oh my goodness, this guy has got to get on social media. So this was the beginning of launching Chris, his career on social media. So I'm hoping that, this will be his springboard in getting, on it. So when you go on his Instagram, and if he's on Facebook, subscribe or click on and like, and let's encourage Chris, because he has got so much for us that we need to know, and that his message needs to go out there. So let's help him and do that. And also, if you like what you've seen today as well, click on and subscribe to my site too. And definitely are going to have Chris again. I'd love to talk more about mental health, mindset, and because that I know is a real key in between healing and not healing in a lot of areas. So Chris, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Enjoy yeah, it's been wonderful. So let's meet again. We'll chat.